All right, so for this one, we want to establish facts about transversal lines and parallel lines. If you're struggling with this, please feel free to go back to your definition pages from 8.1, which is on page 3, and that's going to help you quite a bit. But if we look at angle 1 and 2, we see they're directly across from each other, so this means that they're vertical angles. Remember, every time we have vertical angles, this means that they are congruent. At the top, it tells me that angle 1 is 60 degrees, so that means angle 2 is also 60 degrees. Looking at angle 2 and 3, I see they're in the same position but on different lines, so that means that they would be our corresponding angles. Every time we have corresponding angles, this means that they are also congruent. So since angle 2 is 60 degrees, that means I'm left with angle 3 is 60 degrees. If I look, I started knowing with angle 1 is 60, and I found angle 3 to be 60, so that means they're the same or they're congruent. Now, if I look at 1 and 3, I see they're both inside the parallel lines and on opposite sides of the transversal line, so that means that they are alternate interior angles. So the last part just wants me to combine those together. So I'm going to say alternate interior angles are congruent, which we can check. All right. So doing the same thing with the next one, I see 2 and 3. They're in the same position on different lines. That's corresponding angles, which again is congruent. So since angle 2 is 130, angle 3 is 130. 1 and 2 are across from each other, so this means that they are vertical angles, and they are congruent, meaning angle 1 is also 130. If I look, we've found that angle 3 and angle 1 are both 130 degrees, which means they're congruent. This is also true because we can see they're both outside the parallel lines and they're on opposite sides. So remember, that means that they are alternate exterior angles. So again, for the last part, we just combine them together and we say alternate exterior angles are congruent. Doing this one last time for this last one, I can see that angle 2 and angle 3 are again corresponding angles, and that means that they're congruent. So angle 3 is 145 degrees. Angle 1 and angle 2 are across from each other, so they are vertical. Thus, angle 1 and angle 2 are again congruent, leaving me that this angle 1 is also 145 degrees. If I look at angle 1 and angle 3, I see they're the same, so that means they're congruent. They are inside the parallel lines and on opposite sides, so that means they are alternate interior angles, which means we just proved that alternate interior angles are congruent, which we can check. So that's how you can establish facts about angles and write them down. And if you have any questions, feel free to let me know.